Hello again to another Agakala React, and we'll be watching how a beaver boom is reshaping floods and fire from Grist. The links and everything below in the description box, so let's just go into it, let's just see how the beavers are doing and how they're helping.
David Hackinson thinks about water a lot.
All this will disappear underwater regularly in the winter.
That's because the farm he owns in the Pacific Northwest experiences frequent catastrophic floods.
Floods in October, we had floods in November, December, January, February, and March. So there's this kind of anxiety that involves, like, when you look out of the field and say, wow, I make my living off that field and now it's a lake.
To protect Jubilee Farm, Hackinson
That's
is
like he's
looking
got
to an unlikely ally. Beavers. Because it turns out, beavers might actually offer some real protection
obviously
against climate impacts like flooding and wildfires, if people can learn to live with them.
Beaver dams are causing problems in Springfield's Forest Park.
Flooding of the paths near the aquatic gardens.
It's a few hundred yards from the McWanago Walmart.
Beavers can be a farmer's worst nightmare.
Farmers and beavers don't often get along. And even Hackinson has had his share of conflicts with the local family of beavers, who regularly turn his field into what he calls Lake Jubilee.
The beavers have their goal in life, and I have my goal in life. My job is to farm, and there is some friction there. But if I were to remove the beavers, more beavers would just come over because it is like a beaver paradise.
Beavers have lived in North America for more than 7 million years.
7 million? Really?
Until recently, the U.S. was home to a staggering amount of beavers, somewhere between 60 and 400 million. That means that for
It kind of makes sense. Let's see, show them up, isn't it? There's like lakes, rivers, streams, all the thing. There's a lot of lakes and stuff. Did you hear that? There's like, I was making a reaction to other video recently about acid rain, and the woman said there's like 300,000 lakes just in Ontario in Canada. So I'm not surprised that there were so many beavers in America.
North America looked completely different. It was a country covered in swamps, from the Arctic Circle to the deserts of the U.S. Southwest. But by the end of the 1800s, fur trappers had hunted beavers to near extinction.
There, for the far,
And
huh?
American ecosystems completely changed.
Wait, go back
when
there.
modern America was built,
Go back there,
beavers
1
weren't
second. Let me see, the
So-
hut. Where is the hut? I'm sorry, is that supposed to mean this is made? I'm gonna have to look that up.
American ecosystems completely changed.
No, it can't be made from
So
beaver.
when most of
How?
modern America was
No.
built, beavers weren't really on anyone's radar.
It was all without beavers in mind, without thinking about how they could affect our infrastructure, our roads, our yards.
'Cause
our
no one
drivers,
really
our
knew them,
homes,
I
our
guess.
Farms. They weren't here.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to think about them.
But in the last few decades, beaver populations have started to rebound, only to a fraction of their previous levels. But still enough to cause
More than it was
trouble
in
when they flood
1900s.
properties, wash away roads, or chew up trees.
That's some
People
heat
are
though.
always like, we didn't used to have beaver problems here. We didn't used to have beavers. Never saw beavers here before. And like, well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
There's a really, really good reason for that, and I don't doubt you. But things are changing, and they're not going away at this point.
A lot of people get kind of like irate about beaver dams because beavers have kind of like one joy in life, and that is stopping water. They probably have other ones. I'm sure they lead rich inner lives, but
He's funny.
they really like stopping water from flowing.
With seasonal flooding on the rise, Hackinson thinks that ability to stop water might actually be able to help his farm.
Yeah.
To understand how that might work, let's take a trip to a hypothetical creek. Like a lot of creeks, Beaver Creek is just a single narrow channel. During winter storms, water rushes down the creek, and during summer, the creek dries up to a trickle. And climate change is making those floods and droughts even more extreme. So let's imagine a beaver moves into Beaver Creek. The beaver builds a dam, and water starts to back up into a pond. During a flood, a lot of that water can get stored in the pond and in the soil underneath the pond, where it permeates through the ground and eventually comes out downstream. during the summer droughts, when everything on the surface has usually dried up, there's still water stored in the ground under the beaver pond, creating a lush oasis in an otherwise dry landscape. An oasis that can even stand up to wildfire. One recent study looked at 5 streams that were hit by wildfires in the West, comparing damage in areas with and without beaver dams. And in every single case, the stream sections with beaver dams experienced only a third of the fire damage.
Interesting.
All of this matters because climate change is contributing to more severe droughts, fires, and flooding. And it turns out, beavers can help communities with those problems just by doing what they do. Take the Snoqualmie River, which regularly floods David Hackinson's farm. It starts high in the Cascade Mountains, historically fed by a lot of melting alpine snow. But the warming climate is changing that. Storms are starting to deliver less snow and more rain. Rain that rushes downstream and floods the river valley below. This means that flooding in the valley is probably only going to get worse.
I feel like it's going to be the thing that eventually the farm will go under because of floodwater. The flooding's getting worse, the beavers might be able to actually help with that.
One study estimated that on the Snoqualmie River, beaver dams could help store over 6,000 Olympic swimming pools worth of water. And that is why Hackinson is excited about restoring beavers upstream. On the farm, he keeps an eye on the dam, trying to keep it from overtaking his field. But beyond that, he pretty much lets the beavers do their thing.
There's kind of 2 ways to approach nature. One is to fight it, and the other one is to try to figure out how to coexist.
As beaver populations return, more people are following that strategy, using tools like pond levelers or fences to protect the things that matter to them, but letting the beavers be when they're not hurting anyone. Americans are used to a world without beavers, but that's changing, whether we like it or not. Sure, beavers can be frustrating, but if we can learn to get along with these giant aquatic rodents, they might even turn out to be helpful neighbors.
Yeah. Usually when you start working with the nature, you're coming out better on it, I think. A lot of people keep forgetting about it, about the natural ways of farming and growing food and all that. And in the case of beavers, it's the same thing. I'm presuming beavers are... It's probably the same problem in Europe too. Because, well, what can I say? I've seen beaver in the wildlife maybe once in my lifetime. Once, when I was a child. And that was only one time that I remember. I don't remember seeing that many beavers. Not even in zoo, I think. I'm not sure. So, yeah. I think this is something that people should kind of look into it. Because honestly, beavers do kind of know what to do with water. And it's like they just said it. If you have a beaver and it's just the water stores not only behind the dam, like a natural dam and thing. And that's anyway where the whole concept of dams came from, the beavers, isn't it? But as well in the underground and stuff, so that just helps with the fires. It's very good, I think. What do you think? Do you agree with that? Should we work with the beavers? Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I see you tomorrow. Bye!